Happy New Year from Riley Blake Designs. We have so many fun things planned for 2014. And on the top of the list is our Block of the Month program.
So what Cindy and I have decided to do is do a happy birthday quilt. And we do have a fun story that we'll share about the idea behind this quilt. We have, we'll show it to you and show what we've included.
And it's big.
It's very large.
Big.
So at the top here, you'll see our banners, and that's happy at the top and then birthday at the bottom. And then we've got ice cream cones over here, which we're going to be doing today.
This is the block we're working on.
Then we've got birthday hats, we've got candles, we've got our cupcakes, we've got the presents, and then the very last block of the month is going to be this cake.
But we've also got the sides.
Oh, yes, and we've also got all the pinwheels.
Our traditional quilt blocks are on the sides.
Yep. So a lot of methods we'll be learning. We'll be learning paper piecing, and we'll be learning how to applique, and then we'll just have a few fun ideas for how to make this fast and simple.
And the idea behind this quilt is that it's a special birthday quilt for your family. So if it's a child or parent who's having their birthday that day, they get to use that quilt for the day or maybe the week.
But it's big enough.
It's big
for
enough.
The whole family.
For the whole family. That's right. That's right. So we hope you'll enjoy this time with us and follow along our Block of the Month program. So the first block we're going to be working on is the ice cream cone block.
And of course, you have to have ice cream at a party, right?
Everybody has ice cream. And we made 6 of these to kind of grow our quilt to make it a large size blanket. And Gina's going to show us how easy it is to make these blocks.
Let's talk about a few tools that we'll need. We like to use Sue Daly's pink rotary cutting board, Lori Holt's round ruler. I'm only using the 7-inch for the ice cream cone top.
And you could make your own template if you don't want to get this, but this is a really handy tool to
It's a
have.
7-inch circle.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our rotary cutter and a glue stick, a pair of scissors, a pair of pinking shears, and, of course, something to turn it right side out.
A tool. That's a chopstick.
Yep.
You can use whatever tool you'd like.
Okay.
Great.
And so let's begin by doing our paper piecing on the bottom of the cone. You'll want to first download the template and the pattern, and you'll want to print 6 of the template. So we've got those here.
And if you've never paper pieced, this is a great project to get started because it's very simple.
Only 3 pieces, okay? So what you'll want is to cut first your brown, and the size of that is 5.5 by 6, and there's 6 of those.
Okay.
Then you have your white for the sides. And of course, you'll see that these are larger. Now, whenever you're doing a paper piece at an angle, it pulls down, so you need a larger piece to cover that whole surface area. So you need 12 of these at 7 by 10. Okay? All right, so this first piece, and I'll let you do this, you're going to glue this to the wrong side of the paper.
Okay.
Now, you want to make sure that this paper is going right. Check that it's right within, you're going to cut on that edge. So you want to make sure that's there and that your corner and everything is right on the surface.
Okay.
So put a little bit of glue while I hold that.
Just kind of along there.
And then there we go. Okay. Then we'll want to take this piece and we'll want to place it on here, remembering that most of our fabric is on this side. So as long as this point and this point, and also make sure that's kind of centered so I have overlap on either side. Now if I were to pin it,
because we're just going to sew this section.
We're going to sew number 2 right here, right from here to here.
Okay.
And so I'm going to check it for you by pinning, because we're going to sew here. And I want you to see that when we flip it over to this side, you'll notice that that whole area is going to be covered by this piece of fabric.
And we have this all labeled, so it says 1, 2, 3.
Right.
So you start with your 1 block, you sew between 1 and 2,
Right.
and then sew between 1 and 3.
Right.
So
Okay,
we're going to take it to the
sew.
machine and sew it and show you how it looks when it's finished. Put it right there on the edge.
So this is where we need to make sure we have a really tiny stitch, about 1.5. So that
it'll perforate.
Yes, the paper will tear away easily.
Okay. Stitch.
All right.
We've sewed our first side.
Okay. Cindy's sewing from the one, or in between the 1 to the 2, right? So now we're going to trim this edge. I always, before I trim though, I like to double check. You've covered your whole surface.
Make sure that's, you got the side of your cone.
Yep. And remember to now trim this. So just open it up. Make sure you don't have your paper caught, and you're going to take your ruler and your rotary cutter and just trim 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Now we can just finger press this like so. And if it's, you can just finger press like this and then turn it over, and then we'll take our other piece of white. Remember, we're on this side now, so we want most of the fabric on the opposite side so it flips over. Okay. So you're going to place this down here. You've got ends hanging out, both ends here. Your line is from here to here. Most of your fabric is on this side because we're going to take it over. We can put a pin right there if you like.
It's always nice
just to kind of hold it. Yeah. And then we'll go straight to the sewing machine and we'll sew that other edge.
Okay. Okay, we'll set that down. I'll just stitch right along this line. All right, so we sewed our second stitch line between 1 and 3.
And again, you'll notice we've used a small stitch, a 1.5, so that the paper will perforate away, and we'll see that in just a moment. So we're going to take this edge, fold it over. You'll take your ruler and your rotary cutter and just trim.
We can trim both sides.
Yeah, okay. You can go right down. Okay, and we'll open it back up.
Okay.
And then you'll see that you've got these. Now I'm going to press this to make sure that those all lay down.
Just, and you still press it with the paper.
Right, keep the paper in there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut on this outside line. Not the inside, that's your 1/4 inch, that's your sewing mark. So on this outside edge, you'll cut all the way around.
So we made 2 marks on here so we could see exactly where to cut and where to sew.
Right.
And this makes it really easy to just line it up.
Yes.
Make sure that's
okay, so we're almost to our block, and as soon as Cindy takes away this last piece, she's going to tear the pieces of paper from the block, and then I'll press that while we trace that and get ready for our next part of the process, which will be the ice cream cone.
And this is the part you're always like, okay, did I do it right?
And there you go.
Flip it over. There you go. And here you have your cone.
And so for the ice cream, you're going to take a piece of interfacing and you're going to trace your circle with your pencil.
Double-sided or just one-sided?
Just one-sided, lightweight interfacing.
This is where you use the 7-inch ruler, or you can make your own template, but having these around are really handy.
And just trace your circle. And then we're going to take our circle to the right side of our fabric and place it so you can see your outline. And you're going to sew on this outline piece.
Okay.
So let's go sew. All right, so Cindy's just sewing her circle right on the line that we traced. And so what we'll do now, if you have a pair of pinking shears, you'll just trim close to the edge, which allows it to turn. If you don't have pinking shears, just use your regular scissors and then do a few little cuts into the curve to allow it to fold out nicely.
Yeah,
and lay
pinking
flat.
shears come in handy for us.
It just allows those little cuts into that circle, and then it can lay nice and flat when you press it. So once Cindy's cut this, we're going to take the regular scissors and make sure we only make a slit through the interfacing, not the fabric. And that's the best way to do it. Just pull it up, make a little cut in the center there, and then just turn it right side out. You'll use your piece of wood or whatever you have, chopstick, to turn it right side out and get all those little edges out.
And since this material is really, what do you call it?
Thin.
So you want to go underneath your fabric to pull it out, because if you go on top, sometimes you poke your stick through. So make sure you're
and tear that.
The selvage.
But if you do, just turn it right side out and go back and just do a extra stitch on the inside and keep that curve. Now once we get this out, we'll press it and then we're going to cut it in half. So basically you can have just do 3 the same color. We've done 6 different colors. You are basically doing another top, so we're going to have 2. Does that make sense?
If you want 6 different kinds of ice cream, do 6 different
colors.
But
you're making 2, or you can have 3 different colors and just use both your sides.
This would be a great quilt to do with a friend, and you could share
it would be awesome to do with a friend.
Yes.
Okay, so let's find the middle and just finger press that. And then I like to place that right on a center line here and then cut with my ruler right down the center.
Make sure you're right on. There you go. Got your 2 tops of your ice cream.
Then what you'll do is you'll cut a 3.5 by 8.5 inch piece. You'll find the center of this. Again, just do a little finger press and then finger press one of these and just kind of line up those lines. And then I like to pin that in place. Okay. So if we grab a few pins. And then what we'll do, we might want to place one right here at the top. We're going to take this and we're going to center it right over the top of this and check that I've got, and I like to make sure that I have even amounts of the cone hanging. See how that edge comes off? It's about half an inch on each side. But if it's not quite even, you can move that and then just pin that. And we're going to sew straight down here. Make sure these all measure and pull out. Okay, there we go.
So we sewed along the top.
All right.
We open it up.
And there we go. Now you'll notice it naturally folds, this seam goes to the bottom towards the cone. So I just like to press it that way, just because it naturally falls in that direction.
Heavier,
yeah, it is
extra
heavier.
fabric.
So we press that. And then all we're going to do to finish the top part of the ice cream is do a little zigzag stitch across there.
Okay, let's finish it. And we'll
Okay.
show you our finished ice cream.
All right, Cindy's done a great job of finishing this cone. We learned a few things.
I think the tip is to use, if you don't have a walking foot,
Yes.
which we didn't, is put your foot on the colored edge,
Right.
and take a stitch on the color and the white. That way it balances out. It seems
Yes.
to, if you did it on the other side, it would kind of pull your fabric if you did it around on this side.
Or use a walking foot, or a blanket stitch could also work.
Blanket stitch would be really pretty. So we finished block number 1. Just repeat it 5 more times, and you've got your first
6
finished.
blocks.
Yes.
Now they want to measure unfinished 8.5 by 8.5. We'll be showing at the very end how we sash everything and bring it all together, but right now we're just getting the blocks done.
Yes, so we hope you enjoy your ice cream for the month of January.